Manga artist Ichiro struggles to support himself and his siblings Machi and Fumio on the rent from a small apartment building he inherited following their father's death and their mother running away with another man. His workload increases when both his assistants quit, but his editor Masahiro finds him a new assistant named Shiori. Despite being self-taught and only 19, Shiori does the best work Ichiro has ever seen and is instantly liked by Machi and Fumio. Shiori reveals she only started reading her grandmother's manga collection when she was 18, one of which was Ichiro's main series Alice and the Knight of Thorns. After an all-nighter to meet a deadline, they both fall asleep at their desks. Upon awaking, Ichiro sees a craft pen stuck in Shiori's back. Fearing she is hurt, he grabs the pen and is transported into an infinite void. Shiori pulls him out and is angry he touched her while asleep, but accepts he thought she was hurt. She explains she is princess of a species called Star People, and what Ichiro mistook for a pen was her stinger. By touching it, Ichiro is now her fated husband, but as she desires a real marriage, she insists they must fall in love first. By custom, Shiori's parents should choose her husband, but she accepts fate as chosen Ichiro, though Ichiro is skeptical. After encountering Chihiro, Ichiro's cousin and apartment tenant, Shiori returns home. Ichiro passes out from fever, so Shiori rushes back, explaining they must now remain close to each other or Ichiro will weaken and die. Ichiro accepts Shiori is telling the truth about everything when holding hands cures his fever. Shiori rents one of the apartments and asks some of her star people to discover if their engagement can be annulled. Requiring necessities, Ichiro takes Shiori shopping. Shiori explains that a meteorite hit their island, bringing an alien bacteria that first infected her grandmother, then spread to every islander. By coexisting with the bacteria, they gain powers and rename themselves Star People. Two men flirt with Shiori, but when Ichiro pulls her away, he hurts her arm, causing his nose to bleed. Shiori blames herself, explaining her pain or even emotional upset will now affect his physical health, and regrets leaving her island. Ichiro insists it is alright, she is trying to find happiness and promises to be more careful. Just in case the engagement can't be annulled, he also promises to learn how to be around her safely, making her smile. As part of his new learning process, Ichiro tests to see how far he can get from Shiori before becoming ill, discovering no effects within a few miles. As for contact, Shiori suggests acting out scenes from romantic manga. Ichiro becomes extremely flustered, but suffers no ill effects from casual touching. Shiori wonders if she could find a second job within the safe radius of a few miles. Masahiro asks Ichiro to rewrite his latest story to include more romantic scenes, but he suddenly suffers from severe writer's block. Shiori decides to introduce herself to the other tenants, leaving them letters and gifts in their mailboxes. Former tenant and Ichiro's childhood friend Momoka, who is also married to Masahiro, visits Ichiro and his siblings. Shiori learns Momoka writes one of her favorite manga, Master of Lion Fist, and asks to work with her, but Momoka only draws on computers, which Shiori is unfamiliar with. Momoka offers her an old tablet to practice on. After Momoka leaves, Ichiro feels ill and realizes Shiori was jealous of his friendship with Momoka. Realizing she is jealous, Shiori deduces she must finally be in love with Ichiro. Following her revelation, Shiori asks to spend time alone. Ichiro has to cancel taking his siblings to the zoo due to rain. Due to Shiori's revelation, Ichiro cannot focus on making his manga more romantic. Shiori can't decide how to act around Ichiro, so she spends time with Machi and Fumio, but accidentally tears one of Machi's precious tarot cards Ichiro painted for her. Ichiro volunteers to make a new set, so Shiori goes to the library in the rain for a book on Machi's favorite fortune teller. When Shiori is gone a while, Ichiro goes to find her, and they enjoy a walk home. Shiori and Ichiro draw the new cards together and help the delighted Machi put on a fortune-telling performance. Ichiro discovers Machi's crystal ball is his old planetarium projector, which he switches on. Shiori joins him under the projected stars, and Ichiro tells her he still wants the engagement annulled. His rejection hurts Shiori so much bruises appear on Ichiro's body until Ichiro then confesses that he loves her too and wants to date her properly before getting engaged. Shiori happily accepts, then passes out from excitement. Ichiro, his siblings, and Shiori finally go to the zoo. They let the kids enjoy seeing all the animals, but seeing Ichiro's hands occupied by his siblings, Shiori wishes for him to hold her own hand, but believes she is selfish by interfering in their family trip. However, Machi eventually discovers them, and they finally admit their relationship, which the kids accept immediately. Machi asks Shiori what she likes about Ichiro, and she wonders what Ichiro likes about her. She later gathers the courage to ask him to hold her hand, which he happily does, delighting her. Meanwhile, back on Shiori's island, her family worries for her well-being, as they have not communicated with her since she left. Her mother Miyako worries the most, asking for any signal of Shiori be relayed to her. Back home, while Ichiro cleans the kitchen, a curious Shiori goes to ask him what he likes about her, but runs into Chihiro, nearly exposing their romance. She sees Ichiro asleep in a table, gently waking him, and asks him to allow her to touch his neck. He agrees, and they become closer together. However, as she goes to sleep, Shiori realizes she forgot to ask him